What up, Naughty Steppers? Connor Whitmore here again with another review for you on the Nawtystep channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new EP from Dr. Ozzy, released on Never Say Die Records, Demons in Denial. Toronto-based Nix Chohan, aka Dr. Ozzy, is back with his first EP since last March's Vital, the follow-up to the Blueprint project of 2017, my undoubted favourite of that year. And as a successor, Vital very much paled in comparison, although pretty much any EP would have in all honesty. It did, however, kick off a string of releases that again didn't captivate in quite the way Blueprint did. From his 2 double singles to fill in the blanks, his tunes for Never Say Die Volume 6, Hyperfuture 2 and more. Flickers of brilliance in most of them, but overall not enthralling in the way I feel his songs can from start to finish. Thinking back not only to Blueprint but also Billy Badass and Frontier as well. The issue once again with setting such a high standard, but one I had hopes he could reach again. Ignited somewhat by his latest single Zilla Bounce, self-released only a couple of weeks ago. Brimming with energy, injecting that much needed bit of life back into the Dr. Ozzy project, leading into Demons in Denial. And I think it would be fair to say that he carries that energy over into this new collection. Demons in Denial is quite simply Chohan's most impressive work since the Blueprint EP. Not quite reaching those crazy levels of ingenuity and adventure, but with more than enough to make it a truly standout EP. Most importantly, in its best moments, this project is a departure from the laboriousness of some of his recent output. Not dragging or trudging along, but showing Ozzy's style in full flow, epitomised by the middle tune, Brooding Murder. The dubstep itself is typically skittish and jumpy from him, another wild amalgamation of industrial sounds. But it's the vocal samples that take it to another level, in a way I haven't seen for a fair while. Expertly opening up both builds, playing a massive part in every drop, but it's the progressions where they really come to life. Well, in introducing them at least, the vocal cut up in this thrilling way, the definition of the sound is absolutely mad. Winding down into this bellowing drop, the flow and timing of which is brilliant, also intricate but it hits really hard, gets you where it hurts. And just when you thought that idea was remarkable enough in itself, he only goes and one-ups himself the second time around. Slowing that vocal chop down to give it a more lasting impact, built on even more with this meaty fake-out drop, before slamming into another brilliant section with a real swing and groove to it, savage in sound, but the rhythm, oh my. Oh, okay. Oh, it's just so fucking good. Only thing I wish is that that section was a little bit longer. It seems cut short. All the while though, the vocal samples running through the drops, making for a truly exhilarating listen. Similarly, the opener Collider sees Ozzy in full flow, the dubstep wild, energetic, and full of variety from start to finish. It's scattergun delivery, but controlled really well, the high-pitched stuff to begin with, the devilish jabs following just after. Very gritty, firing at you from all directions, taking a more industrial turn for the second drop, before a fantastic development. These electrifying, tricksy, pinprick stabs that really are just what Chohan is all about. Class stuff. And generally, the jagged, off-the-cuff delivery is so riveting throughout, very full and rounded also, a reminder of what he's all about. Tracks 4 and 5, Bar Brawl and Forgetting About You, are more about their sparks of brilliance than all-round excellence, I'd have to say. Bar Brawl is another where vocal samples play a prominent role, but it's not so much a thing of enhancing as distracting. Because a lot of the drop material I find to be wide of the mark in terms of what we know Chohan for. More scattergun delivery, which I do appreciate, but here it feels bereft of feeling even when it's built on. The rapid industrial chimey notes in the double drop I also find a bit flat, the winding screeches too. And those loud abrasive sounds in the final drop, again just don't feel pleasant on the ear in any way. Having said that, it does end with some pretty good stuff. The dizzying, winding triplet notes are a brilliant way to end it. And as I mentioned, the vocal samples, I can't lie, they are very good. My favourite being
I wanna get stuck in with the ball!
Forgetting About You is again a bit of a mixed bag. Once more, it's the final drop sequence that I'm really enjoying on that cut. Classic jittery Ozzy production, not fully propped up and fleshed out, but a good idea with respect to what we get elsewhere. The progression to that is a little stuttered and seemingly unsure of its direction. Still a lot going on, but the chemistry isn't quite there. And that's before I get on to what precedes that, which in all honesty is a little confusing considering it's Ozzy. A jarring, fake-out sort of delivery, which then ends up becoming the main part of that sequence. Loads of amazing gaps with the percussion, but it never truly gets going, stifled with many gaps to be filled. I rate him experimenting with his approach, the different forms of dubstep delivery, but sometimes it is just too far from what he's best at. Which leads me onwards to track 2, Legacy, which I'd say reminds me of the more laborious type of Ozzy production. A lot of rapturous sound here, which I love, in particular those croaking noises, which genuinely are really cool. But the overall vibe is ponderous and slow, muffled for the most part within that RIDDIM-y format, good flow and rhythm, but not on point for him. The track breakdown for drop 2 is a good idea, well executed with again some nice touches, but sonically it's a bit grainy, the progression picks up the pace but there's too much going on there for me. It's good to have this more drawn out version of his style, but again I'm just not sure it's living its best life there. Not to reduce the EP to the drops though, the introductions are for me varying levels of effective. The opening to the EP on Collider is lengthy and well assembled, becoming more grand and scenic as it goes on, telling a story. I like the demonic, warped wubs that introduce Bar Brawl, the warm, summery glow that opens up Brooding Murder. But the breakbeat bonanza of Forgetting About You I find a bit too full on, and the intro to Legacy far too short. Although the vocal sample opening the track up, repeated throughout, is extremely well cut. Elsewhere, I really enjoy the midsection of Collider, dreary in a good way, like recovering consciousness from the madness of the drop. Returning for the outro in this vacant, hazy way, in my opinion, one of the most powerful moments on the EP. And on that note, the end to the EP on Forgetting About You, like a sort of interference, creepy and nervy, yet promising of more, a great way to end. Also, don't think I've given quite enough love yet to the vocal samples in Bar Brawl, another highlight for me being
Your teeth will make a fine necklace.
But overall, in spite of the drawbacks I find on several cuts here, I return to my original point, which is that this is Chohan's best work since Blueprint. There may be those lesser moments, but more than that, I think there are really good parts to all 5 tunes here. Collider and Brooding Murder are generally excellent, Bar Brawl starts and ends well, top-notch vocal samples to boot. On Forgetting About You, the final drop starts really well, one of the best on the EP, with much needed moments of euphoria too. And even Legacy, where again the vocal samples are great, some of the best sounds on the EP, and the builds are the most interesting. It's a sign of how high his standard is that even on those songs I would deem lesser, there's still a lot going for them. On top of that, structurally and stylistically, he always keeps you guessing. Some ideas don't work, but there's nothing formulaic about the EP. Never settling for the ordinary, always upping his ideas and trying things out, so much going on all the time. With an insane energy for pretty much the entire thing, for large parts it seems like he's back to his best. If he's somehow able to make the slower numbers more appealing, then really there's little stopping him being one of the very best in this scene. With a properly unique sound, generally very well defined, stacked with variety, force and flavour, he's almost at that point. And so whilst Demons in Denial is by no means perfect, the good stuff here is so on point that I think we have to start giving credit where it's due and regarding him in that way. Now in terms of my favourite on the EP, then I think I would have to go with Brooding Murder. Collider runs it close, but Brooding Murder is just so inventive and clever, the vocal samples are amazing, and it shows us new sides to his production. And in terms of recommendations, if you enjoyed the EP, then I would just look at old Dr. Ozzy stuff, Blueprint especially, no one really that sounds like him, maybe Control Freak at a push. And so there we have it, my thoughts on the new Dr. Ozzy EP, Demons in Denial. What did you guys make of the EP? Do you have a favourite track from the 5? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell along the way, social media accounts in the description box down below. For some other Never Say Die related videos on the channel, check out the link right here. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know guys, so be sure, as always, to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.